watching Field Guide to the Unknown, where mystery meets the unexplained.
On the night of November 23, 1953, a United States Air Force jet disappeared from radar while chasing an unidentified flying object over the icy waters of Lake Superior. The aircraft, an F-89C Scorpion, was advanced for its time. Its mission was to intercept an unknown radar target that had wandered into restricted airspace. The pilot, First Lieutenant Felix Moncla, never returned. His radar operator, Second Lieutenant Robert Wilson, vanished alongside him. No wreckage was ever found. No black box, no parachutes, not even an oil slick. The only thing that remained was a single, mysterious radar blip that seemed to merge with their plane and then disappear completely. This is the Kinross Incident, a story that lies at the hazy edge between official military history and high strangeness, a story of national security, unexplained disappearances, and one of the most chilling UFO mysteries in American history. Part 1. Who was Felix Moncla? Felix Eugene Moncla Jr. was born in the small town of Mansoura, Louisiana. In 1926, the son of a school principal and World War I veteran, he was a bright and disciplined student who excelled in athletics and academics alike. After graduating high school, Moncla earned a football scholarship to Southwest Louisiana Institute, where he completed a degree in science. He first served in post-war Japan as part of the American occupation forces after World War II. Then, in 1950, with tensions rising in Korea, Moncla re-enlisted. This time, he joined the newly formed United States Air Force. He quickly rose through the ranks as a pilot. At Connolly and Reese Air Force bases, he completed his training and qualified to fly interceptors, fast-armed jets designed to defend American skies from potential Soviet bombers. Moncla married Bobby Jean Coleman while stationed in Texas. They had 2 children before he was assigned to Kinross Air Force Base in Michigan, a frigid outpost near the Canadian border. It was there, in the tense days of the Cold War, where Moncla's final mission began. Part 2. The mission. It was a quiet Monday night at Kinross Air Force Base. The date was November 23, 1953, at ground control. Radar operators were tracking the usual military and commercial flights in the area. But at approximately 6 p.m., something strange appeared on their screens. An unknown aircraft was approaching restricted U.S. airspace near the Sulaks, strategic infrastructure at the southeastern end of Lake Superior. It was flying at around 500 miles per hour, erratic, off course, and unresponsive to communications. Such sightings weren't unusual during the Cold War. Every unidentified radar contact had to be treated as a potential Soviet incursion. Lieutenant Moncla and his radar observer, Lieutenant Robert Wilson, were scrambled to intercept. They launched in an F-89C Scorpion, one of the most advanced interceptors of the era. It was equipped with radar systems, rocket pods, and a sleek silhouette tailored for high-speed engagements. Moncla and Wilson were guided toward the unknown object by ground control. Wilson reported difficulty tracking it on his radar, so the base provided vectors from the ground. At an altitude of 8,000 feet, the Scorpion began to close in on the object. Then, something unbelievable happened. Radar operators watched as the 2 blips, the F-89 and the unknown object, grew closer and closer. They became one. There was no explosion, no flare, no scattering. The 2 blips simply merged, and then the screen went silent. The radar signal of the F-89 and the object was gone. What remained was a single, lingering blip continuing northward. Then it too vanished. Part 3. The disappearance. Attempts to contact Moncla over the radio were met with silence. He had vanished in an instant without a single distress call. A second F-89 was scrambled to search the last known coordinates. The pilot of the second aircraft would later testify that he heard a faint radio transmission, a voice he believed belonged to Moncla. It lasted only seconds, unintelligible and ghostly, and then silence. Search and rescue teams were mobilized immediately. U.S. and Canadian aircraft scoured the vast expanse of Lake Superior. Vessels searched the shoreline and icy waters for days, but there was no wreckage, no bodies, no floating debris. It was as if the F-89 had been plucked from the sky. Despite the severity of the incident, the story quickly began to fade from public view. Part 4. Official explanations. Initially, the Air Force stated only that the mission was a routine intercept and that the aircraft had failed to return. Days later, a new explanation emerged. The object was allegedly a Canadian RCAF-C-47 transport plane that had strayed off course. According to this version of events, Moncla simply got too close, lost control due to vertigo, and crashed into the lake. But this version raised immediate red flags. The Royal Canadian Air Force denied that any of their aircraft were missing or off course that evening. Civilian pilot Gerald Fosberg, who flew the supposed mystery C-47, insisted he was nowhere near the Sioux Locks. There was no intercepted Canadian plane, there was no record of airspace violation, and there was no explanation for the merged radar return. To make matters more confusing, the Air Force later stated Moncla may have suffered vertigo, based on second-hand rumors that he occasionally experienced disorientation in flight. These claims were not included in the official findings of the investigation. There was no conclusive explanation. The incident remained classified and was largely ignored by major media outlets, but for UFO researchers, it became a defining case. Part 5. Alternate Theories. So what really happened to Lieutenant Moncla and Lieutenant Wilson? Some believe the official story is a cover-up, designed to mask a far stranger truth. According to Major Donald Kehoe, one of the earliest and most outspoken UFO researchers, the Kinross Incident was the first known case of a military aircraft vanishing during an attempted intercept of a UFO. Kehoe alleged that the Air Force was aware of UFO activity over the Great Lakes and was actively intercepting unidentified craft. He pointed to the radar data, the missing wreckage, and the rapid change in official explanation as evidence of a deeper mystery. Other researchers, including those featured in documentaries like the Moncla Memories, argue that the F-89 may have collided with or been taken aboard an unidentified craft, possibly a classified test vehicle, possibly something far more exotic. Skeptics offer less dramatic theories: mechanical failure, bad weather, simple pilot error. The F-89C model had a troubled record. Its engines were known to flame out, and it had multiple recorded crashes. Still, none of these theories account for the radar anomaly, the merged blips, or the total lack of debris. And so the questions persist. Part 6. False Leads and New Mysteries. In 1968, 15 years after the disappearance, reports surfaced of military jet debris washing up on the Canadian shore of Lake Superior. Journalists speculated that these may be parts of Moncla's jet, but no official confirmation was ever released. Then, in 2006, a group calling themselves the Great Lakes Dive Company made headlines by claiming they had found the wreckage of Moncla's plane on the lakebed using side-scan sonar. They released grainy images of what appeared to be an aircraft fuselage deep below the surface. But the group disappeared almost as quickly as it appeared. Their website was taken offline, and all contact ceased. Investigators later determined the group was a fabrication. The sonar images were fake. The discovery had been a hoax. Another dead end. Another layer of mystery. Part 7. The Legacy. Today, the Kinross Incident remains one of the most compelling and unexplained disappearances in aviation history. It is listed in both UFO archives and military accident reports. It straddles a line between plausible denial and chilling possibility. Felix Moncla is memorialized at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu and at his hometown cemetery in Moreauville, Louisiana. His family never received a satisfactory explanation. The case remains officially unsolved. Was this simply a Cold War tragedy, a technical failure in unforgiving skies? Or did Lieutenant Moncla truly encounter something beyond our understanding? The answer may lie at the bottom of Lake Superior, or in the vaults of a government unwilling to tell the whole truth. What do you think happened to Felix Moncla? Leave a comment below and let us know your theory. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the unknown, subscribe for more strange mysteries and forgotten cases from history's dark corners. This has been Field Guide to the Unknown. Thanks for watching.